So this is the second Kaladesh draft I'm doing. In this pack I think I'm choosing between Armorcraft Judge and Tidy Conclusion. Maybe you could take either Theorist and draft some sweet deck. This is tough. I think Tidy Conclusion is the most solid card. The Armorcraft Judge can be very good, but it can also be kind of mediocre. Whereas Tidy Conclusion almost always is good. I think green is better than black though. I could take the other Theorist. That leads to a sweeter deck based on energy. I think it's a little early to take it first pick. I think I'm gonna take Tidy Conclusion. It's just the best card here. And we are kind of paid off here since we get to choose between Restoration Gearsmith and Skywhaler's Shot. There is also Prophetic Prism, which is a sweet card. If I had taken Armorcraft Judge, I would take Riparian Tiger here. That card is good. I think since I already have a black card, it makes sense to take the Gearsmith. I think it's a better card than Skywhaler's Shot. It's a 2-for-1. And if I'm taking Skywhaler's Shot, I have a black card and a white card, so then I might as well take a double colored card. Skywhaler's Shot of course makes me a little more flexible since I can abandon black more easily, but this is a better card. Alright, so there is a couple of cards that's interesting. I don't think Gearshift Ace is for this deck. I want to be aggressive when I have that card. I mean, it's a fine defender, but you really want to attack and have vehicles. I may end up with a vehicle in this deck, but it's not a given. So then I have to choose between Doomed Operative, Ovalchase Daredevil and Prophetic Prism. I think the Daredevil is a very solid card. It's very hard for the opponent to deal with. You just attack, 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 and if they don't have something like a Bastion Mastodon, eventually they're gonna run out of answers. Prophetic Prism is also good. It works well with Aviary Mechanic. But I think the Ovalchase Daredevil is just a solid card. It's going to be hard for the opponent to deal with. Wow, there is a Glimmer of Genius. That card is sick. Very good. There's also Dynavolt Tower. I have one spell this far. Whew. Other than those two cards, I could take the Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot. Works pretty well with the Restoration Gearsmith actually, and with the Ovalchase Daredevil. Really want this Glimmer of Genius though. I mean, the Puzzle Knot just has a lot of synergy with my deck. It's basically 2-for-1, so I'm gonna take it here. So, Paradoxical Outcome is sweet. Actually works very well with Gearsmith and Puzzle Knot. Supple Strike is also fine. Fretwork Colony I think is a little too aggressive for this kind of deck. You're trying to value your opponent out. So that card could be a liability. Thinking about Council at Skygate. This is a black-white deck, often have a lot of flyers, so you can actually hold the ground with this card. And it also works well with cards like Underhanded Design. So even though it may seem weird, I'm gonna take this card to hold the fort. Wow, okay. Foundry Screecher is nice, but Self-Assembler is a very sweet engine card. You obviously want to have more than one in your deck, but this is very early, so if I take it now, I can probably get one later. And Foundry Screecher also is very fragile. It's a lot of things that deal 1 damage. There is a bunch of fodder tokens running around. Server Exhibition is not for this deck, I don't think. It's good if you have trying to go wide with Inspired Charge. I mean, it's a fine card, you would probably play it, or at the very least have it in my sideboard. But the first Self-Assembler sets me up pretty well. There is the Inspired Charge. It's not for this deck though. I like to have Morbid Curiosity in my sideboard. It's a very good card against blue decks or white decks when they put Revoke Privileges or Malfunction on your creatures. You can sacrifice Self-Assembly and draw 5 cards. It's a very good sideboard card. I think I'm gonna take it. The club security is fine, but nothing to write home about, and this 7-drop is not really what I want. So this is a very good sideboard card. So now I can take a little bit of a higher drop with Ambitious Aetherborn. I think the fact that it creates artifacts is good, so you can get this card back. So I think it's better than Thriving Ibex. My curve is getting a little high though. P-Foul is a nice card if you're blue, but this make obsolete good sideboard card. I don't like to have it in my main deck though. And this is why I took this Skygate to hold the fort while I get off with these 5-drops. So the timepiece is not for this deck. I guess I can take the black card, so my neighbors is less likely to go black. Not gonna play it though. May side it in if my opponent has a lot of X1s, but even then I already have a Mag obsolete, which makes this sideboard option obsolete. Alright, I like the first 2 picks, but now the deck is a little awkward right now. Looking to have a good second pack. I did not pass very many black cards, I think. Pass the Doomed Operative. Alright, take the white card, just marginally playable. But yeah, this is the value deck I'm setting up here. I'm gonna have a bunch of cards that can grind out the opponent, these 3 cards, which are give you value in some kind. They are either 2-for-1s or they just come back and hard for the opponent to deal with. And yeah, as I was saying, this card is pretty nice with this card. If you're playing against another controlling deck, this draws you 4 cards. So this draws you 2, then you get it back and you draw 2 more cards, and it can be pretty hard for the opponent to deal with all those cards. And you want removal spells to make up for the time you lose, and then you have something good to draw into. So this is kind of my game plan so far. Take the white card. It's not a card I usually like if I'm not aggressive. Take the basic land. So my opponent, so my neighbor is going blue maybe. Though I doubt that's gonna happen. Alright. So it's between the Fleetwheel Cruiser and the Doomed Operative. I think the Cruiser is just so much better. Didn't I get this the last time too when I played? And yeah, this card just hits very hard, and you can get it back with the Gearsmith. It's also an artifact, so yeah, Doomed Operative would be good. I would take it, but the Cruiser is better. I would have preferred something like Sky Sovereign, of course, but you can't always get what you want. Oh, this is the same pack. I again think that Gearsmith is just a better card. Also, if you have 2 Restoration Gearsmiths, that kind of creates a loop that your opponent is very hard to come back from. So they get each other back, and then you have like an infinite blocker. Because if they attack into it, you block, and then you get back the other one with the first one, and then it's very hard for the opponent to recover. Also some nice removal spells here, but can't pass down value. Curve is getting high though, but we'll figure something out. And this Cruiser also works nice with the Gearsmith, since this card can get killed by the opponent having a blocker, of course, and then you get it back. Alright, there's nothing really I want here. I mean, Acrobatic Maneuver is fine with the Gearsmith, and Fragmentize is also fun, but having a good mana is just so good. So This black-white is known for having a lot of double-colored cards, so I have this card, it's double black. I have some multicolored cards. I could also pick up area responder, and then if there was a very good card here, I would take it over the land, but I think having good mana is important. So Doomed Operative is high on the list of cards I want. It's a 2-drop that comes back. Ooh, but Dai Young is nice. That almost looks like Doomed Operative, but it's not the same card. So yeah, Dai Young is nice, keeps me alive. And yeah, having something to do on turn 2 is nice. Let's see if this is an Artifice. Yeah, it's an Artificer, so maybe I want Imentrus Gogos at some point, but not now. I want the removal spell. Alright, another Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot, I guess. I think 2 is the maximum amount you want. But I will play 2. They work very nice with the Gearsmith. So alright, we're back, and we have a very nice Aviary mechanic here. That card is a 2-drop. Important, since we are durdling around a bit with these high drops, and it can give me back the Restoration Gearsmith or the Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot. So it's just an excellent card. I mean, so much better than Live Fast, since this card is gonna in a lot of situations draw me cards anyway, and it does just everything. Sometimes you can pick up this card, and if your opponent has, again, Malfunction and Revoke Privileges, you can just get that back. Alright, this pack is a little depressing. So, I could take Mind Rot for my sideboard. I think that's a nice sideboard card. There's no point in hate drafting in a league, of course. The Well-Fast Monitor is an option, but it's just... might as well play the Herald of the Fair at that point, since I at the point do not have too many synergies with artifacts. I only have the Daredevil. I also haven't seen a Self-Assembler, which is a little boring, since if you only have one Self-Assembler, card is not good. Does get pumped by Bishop's Factory though. And that's important in Legacy. So at this point I may play this Make Obsolete in the main deck, since one of the weaknesses of this deck is fast starts with a lot of 1 toughness creatures, like decks who wants to play Inspired Charge. And I think Pillar Bug is slightly better than the Security here, since we don't have any 3-drops creatures. Surveillance is not good. And we have some interesting cards in other colors, but the Bug is also an artifact, so triggers a little bit here. I think I'll take the Puzzle Knot. Gonna leave it in the sideboard for now, but it's nice to have the option to play it if I want to. I think it's a little too underpowered in this deck, even though you can get it back with this card. Creating a bunch of 1/1s. It's not exactly how this deck wants to win. But it is a fine sideboard card against a bunch of 1 toughness creatures. Alright, take the 3/4 in the sideboard for now, but if I'm low on playables I could play it. I just have so many good 4-drops that I don't really need this card right now. It looks like a Minotaur or something. Very strange face. Or Jinn. Something intriguing. I like this deck so far. It looks solid. Alright, so we can take another of this. I don't think I'm boarding in 2 cards, and now I wish I'd taken these other options. But since this is an uncommon, it's not a guarantee that you will get it. Take the basic land here. Take the basic land. I want my opponent in those colors, so I'm not gonna take away cards from them. Sometimes people play Sage of whatever its name, gives you free energy. It's not a card that this deck is pretty scared about anyway. Ooh, Airstone Rock. There is also Essence Extraction or Revoke Privileges, but this card is a bomb, and it also is very nice to have a creature. Since I have 2 Restoration Gearsmiths, I rather have a creature if I can pick between 2 cards of similar power level. Although I think the Rock is better than the Extraction. This card just grows and grows, and since we're not really using the energy, if you pick up some random energy cards, this will also get better. So I could take Prophetic Prism, since I have Aviary Mechanic and the Oval Chase Daredevil. This pack is not great. The alternative is to take Live Fast, but I don't think I need that card since I have 2 Puzzle Knots. I could also take Ballister Charger. This is tough. Yeah, I think this card is just gonna be better. Sometimes it just wins the game. Alright. There is the second self-assembly. It's also Aviary Mechanic, and I think Aviary Mechanic just does everything this deck wants at this point. So even though I would love to take a self-assembler, I also just picked up a 5-drop, and this card does everything. So it's a hard pick to make, but what can you do? Guess I can take Eager Construct. And this might be the time to take Acrobatic Maneuver, since it also combos a little bit with the Ballister Charger. You attack, kill something, and then they try to block and kill it, and you blink it. And then you get to kill something next turn. So, yeah. And with 2 Restoration Gearsmith, it gives you value. It's really unfortunate that the Mechanic and the self-assembler was in the same pack. I think I'm not very likely to get the self-assembler back, so I have 3 more chances to get one. Not gonna happen here. I guess taking just a nice finisher is fine. I would so much rather have Wispweaver Angel than this card, but that's not an option, so what can you do? Alright, I don't think I need another Skygate at this point, since I have a lot of 2-drops, so Rush of Vitality is a fine card. Alright, so the Screecher or the Pillar Bug. I have a lot of artifacts, and I think the Screecher is... I think this deck could use another win condition, so... Take that, take the Ardora Express for the sideboard, can be a good sideboard card. At this point I'm going to replace, if I don't get another self-assembler, I'm going to replace it with this Club Security. And nothing I want to play, just take the rare. This card should never get sideboarded in, especially now that the opponent gets to draw a card if you hit the card from their hand. So this card, this type of effect have almost always been unplayable in Limited, and even more so now. So Alright, now there's no point in hate drafting anymore, but again, I mean there's no point in sending signals, but I might as well take the white card. Oh, I think I'm playing live fast actually. So many pressure points. I don't know why I'm getting this instead of a basic land, but it's not like we have a fourth pack to go with. But whatever, doesn't matter. So as I said, I'm gonna replace self-assembly with the club security. The extra mana is not worth the extra power. But I still like the pick of Aviary Mechanic. This card is just so good. It does everything. Resets your creatures hit by revoke privileges and malfunction. And it draws you extra card with this. It gives you another shot of getting something back. Gives you energy with this. If you have 2 Aviary Mechanic, you can go off with this card. It doesn't make too much in this deck, but you could, for example, play Aviary Mechanic, return the other one, play it. So for every 2 mana you spend, you get an energy, and then this card never runs out of energy. Very, very sweet picture. I like it. So I think this deck is fine, and I think 17 lands is fine. We have a lot of 2-drops here, and a lot of things to do on 2 mana. Yeah, I kind of regret not taking the Prophetic Prism over this card, since I have 2 Aviary Mechanics, but you can't know that at that point. So as for land situation, I think this is a clear 9 swamp 7 plains, since we have more black cards and a double black card, and these cards require black mana. I don't want to go lower than that since I have a double white card, but for once me and the Modo land suggester is on the same page. Nice, and this card is sweet in this deck. I think that the fact that it helps cast these double colored cards, oh sorry, this one, makes it very good. Alright, thank you, and I will see you in round number 1.